One more.
No, that's perfect. I love that.
This is our descent into madness. Please enjoy. What's going on, buddy?
Not much. I finally got my second monitor. So I can start streaming basically whenever.
Nice.
Now. So, yeah. That's also why the angle is a little off. I have a small desk that's not really going to fit both monitors, so I had to kind of like angle them, and so the angle's a little different, but everything else should be all right. So before we started, you said you were watching anime. You had to finish an episode.
Yes.
Before we started, what were you watching?
I'm watching the second season of Irregular at Magic High.
The fuck is that?
It's a siscon anime in disguise.
What does siscon mean?
It means main character is in love with his sister.
Gross.
Reveal like later on in the manga they're like cousins, but
so that makes it okay.
Makes it less rapey. But
well, rape is not really the issue.
Yeah.
It's more of an incest issue.
Yeah. It's just another kind of generic shonen magic school anime, and
you know what's I
can't look away from them.
Diet incest.
Diet incest.
It's like
what?
incest light. Is
What?
like the I can't think of a good example. Did you ever watch any of the Flash TV show?
No.
Well, he and his girlfriend are not related at all, but they were raised together.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So that was my phone. I'm not gonna answer that. So they were like, they're not technically related, but because they grew up together, like in the same home, it feels wrong.
It is. It's like, did you ever watch Dexter?
Dexter's Lab. I loved that show. Yeah.
No, Dexter, Michael C. Hall.
Oh no.
Yeah, Michael C. Hall.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not related to his sister at all, but they've been raised together since they were like 4 or 5, and there's always a brother sister kind of relationship going through, and then in like the 6th or 7th season, because they ran out of shit to do, they start making Deb, the sister, start to fall in love with him or like question it. And she's like, I think I'm in love with Dexter. And then like the show will do those things where it'll show her like going to his house and then they start aggressively making out and almost fucking. And then she like wakes up from a dream going, Jesus Christ. And it's like, they still wanted to show that to us.
That's gross. I've heard Dexter gets real bad like real quick.
It is a sharp drop off after John Lithgow's season. John Lithgow, whatever. He, after his season, it's bad. Like the 8th season is almost unwatchable. It's the last season, and now they're fucking revamping it for a 10-episode miniseries.
Yeah, which the general consensus, based on what I've seen, has kind of been why.
Yeah, because the
8th season was so bad. It's like, is there anyone asking for this?
No, like the first 4 seasons are solid. Like it's a good show, and then it's a rapid decline, and then everyone just acknowledges like it's over. It's just one of those shows that went past its prime. Let's just leave it at that. And then now they're like, we're bringing it back, and it's been off the air for 10 years or something.
See,
and
somebody told me it got bad like after season 1. Like season 2 on, they said was just bad.
To be fair, like it's procedural at a point.
Yeah.
And it just becomes a will they, won't they catch him kind of thing. And it relies entirely on the strength of the main villain of that season.
Yeah. House was kind of the same way to me.
I never watched House.
So House is, there's a patient that comes in with a mystery illness. Nobody can diagnose it.
Right.
They try one treatment. It's not the right one. They try a second treatment, and that goes worse. And the person almost dies. And then usually on the third one, they get it because somebody said something sort of innocuous. Innocuous?
Yeah, innocuous.
Somebody said something that didn't seem like it fit, but then House was like, wait a second, that's what it is. And then by the third treatment, they're fixed. And I watched
like those tweets where it's like, House is like, you got ghost AIDS. And everyone's like, that's not a thing. And he says something, it's like, oh shit, he's got ghost AIDS.
And it's never lupus was sort of like the catchphrase of the show. It's never lupus. But every episode is like that. Mm-hmm. And then the parts that aren't medical drama, the part that's just like a regular drama is, House, you're an asshole and you're addicted to Vicodin. And
that's what I was going to say. Isn't he addicted to some kind of painkiller?
Yeah, you're an asshole who's addicted to Vicodin. And he goes, yeah, I know. And they're like, damn it, but you're always right. And he goes, yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like a medical Sherlock Holmes, I think I saw once.
Mm-hmm. Essentially, yeah. And it's really like transparent that it's just the same thing season after season, episode after episode. And I still watch like 3 or 4 seasons of it.
Hugh Laurie is super entertaining. He's super cool.
Yeah. He is a very good actor. I'd watch him in anything.
I can't think of anything I've ever seen him in other than House, but I like him. I like him a lot.
Yeah. Have you ever listened to any of his music?
No. What does he sing?
He's a great piano player. He plays guitar.
No, I didn't know he played music.
Yeah, he's actually really good.
It's like finding out David Hasselhoff played the Berlin Wall. I didn't know he did that till recently.
Oh, yeah, that's why the Germans love him.
I knew he was super popular in Germany. I didn't know he played the Berlin fucking Wall.
Yeah, he does a version of it's called the St. James Infirmary Blues, if I remember correctly. I have to look it up now just to make sure.
That's cool. I didn't know that. There are lots of celebrities that are like deceptively talented.
Let's see. Yeah, St. James Infirmary Blues.
He's also just one of those British guys that's pretty solid at doing an American accent.
Yeah, he's really good. I watched Green Room recently.
I don't even know what that is.
Green Room is the Anton Yelchin or something Soviet.
Something Soviet.
He was Chekhov in the J.J. Abrams Star Trek movies.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He and Maybe from Arrested Development and a couple of other people are in a punk band who are like desperate for money, so they take this gig at like a Nazi bar.
Okay.
And it's actually really cool. The first song they play is Nazi Punk's Fuck Off, and like nobody in the crowd is feeling it.
No shit.
They're all dead silent and they're not like moving or anything.
Oh no.
And then they go on and actually play their set, and then the rest of the time they're into it. But so they as they're leaving the bar, they like witness a murder.
Mm-hmm.
And now they can't fucking leave. Like the Nazis aren't going to let them leave because then what if they call the police and all that. Right. So basically the whole movie is just this punk band trying to get away from these skinheads. And
wild.
Yeah, it's really good. It's definitely worth a watch.
What was it called again?
Green Room.
Green Room. Okay.
But with the exception of Anton Soviet man,
Antonin Scalia. Yeah.
Uh-huh. With the exception of Anthony Scalia and Maybe from Arrested Development, whose name I cannot remember.
I don't remember.
It's like Ali
Wong.
No.
I know what it is, but yeah.
Anyway, with the exception of those two people, like pretty much everyone else in there is like some form of European. Or not American, and you really don't notice it.
What? Yeah, they are solid at emulating our accent. There are not many Americans. Yeah, sometimes it's bad.
Really, what it all comes down to is just having enough time to practice it.
Mm-hmm. You could go super hardcore, like Christian Bale does all of his interviews in American accents whenever he plays an American.
Well, I think didn't he spent part of his childhood in like Wales and then part of his childhood in America or something like that.
I didn't know that.
I think so. Yeah, because he's Welsh originally.
Yeah, I know that. I just know that whenever he does press, he always does it in the voice of the character he's playing. And I saw someone ask him about it. They're like, "Why do you do that? Like, that's not your normal speaking voice." He's like, "Yeah, but if people see me doing all this press, doing it with I can't do a Welsh accent, so I'll do a Cockney one instead." If people see me doing,
why does he sound like Michael Caine?
I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Don't be Batman no
like,
more.
Yeah, if people see me doing this accent, and then they go to the movie and they're like, "That's not the guy I saw." He's like, "I feel like I lied to the fans." And so
You're an actor. It's your job to lie to the fans.
His literal job description is lie to everybody.
Lie believably for like 2.5 hours.
I want to rewind to Nazis. How much would it take for you to perform to a room full of Nazis? They're paying you. So you this isn't a bringer show. Like, you don't have to pay the club $20 to perform.
Yeah.
You let's say you rake in 50% of the door and 10% of the bar sales. Do you perform for Nazis? And they don't limit you at all. You can say whatever you want. If you're doing stand-up and you get up there and you rail on Nazis for 30 minutes, I mean, whatever happens, but you can do it. They're not gonna censor you.
I think I'm gonna need at least enough to cover my hospital bills when I say a bunch of anti-Nazi shit and they beat the shit out of me.
Oh no.
So I'm gonna need at least that much.
I'm gonna be honest, I'd do it for $200.
Yeah, I'm sure you would, because you don't give a shit. You don't stand for anything.
No, if they're gonna pay me, I'll take it. But I'm open about it. You can pay me for anything.
No, I'm because I know myself, and I'm definitely gonna say some anti-Nazi shit, and I'm definitely gonna get the shit beat out of me for it.
I'll make a joke about it. I'll be like, "Man, you guys don't like black people, do you? Just kind of looking out here." And then I'll go, "No, we don't." That's great.
Okay.
And then I'll just tell stories about my dad.
Yeah, they will love that.
Yeah, they're gonna be like, "That's our guy."
Yeah, I don't understand why it's supposed to be funny because all the things he's saying are totally reasonable, but like, yeah. God, I can't wait. I can't wait for the boomer generation to die out. I love Nana. I love them so much. They gotta go. So when you tell stories about your racist dad on stage, do you ever wonder if people are laughing for the right reasons?
I like to think I craft the joke enough to where it's obvious that I think it's stupid and like that's what I'm making fun of. But if people are like, "That is a funny thing to say about minorities," like, well,
that is a funny thing to say about blacks, and then you're like, "Ooh,
a laugh is a laugh."
Yeah. Man.
Sometimes I do, like, one of the jokes I do is I say, I know a really racist guy, and to protect his identity, I'll just call him Dad. And that normally gets a kick out of people.
That is pretty good.
Yeah.
So we didn't watch Casper.
We did not watch Casper.
No. We'll talk about it next week.
Sure. I'll try and find time for it.
I just didn't feel like watching it.
I don't own it, so I'd have to go find it or stream it somehow.
So it's not effort. If you want to pay like $2.99 or whatever it is, you can watch it on Amazon.
Yeah.
But otherwise you're going to have to go to like Put Locker or something.
Yeah.
And I just didn't that was too much trouble for a kids movie that was made 20 years ago.
Yeah.
25 years ago.
A long time ago. Yeah. I watched the Two Bears 1 Cave live event. Mm-hmm. I paid $10 for it, and it was worth the $10.
I bet.
It was incredible. They started the show and they started drinking, and Tom Segura starts just eating edibles. And as the show progresses, they get so fucking trashed.
Nice.
They get obliterated. And at one point, Tom Segura takes out a balloon and he starts blowing it up. And Bert Kreischer's like, oh my God, put it away. What are you doing? Put it away. And Tom just blows it up and like ties it off. And Bert's like, I gotta go. And he leaves. And Tom's like, he told me that he was scared of balloons and I didn't believe him. I think it's a bit. And then his producer goes, do you want us to bring in the balloons? And he goes, yeah. And so like you hear his producer leave the room and Bert comes back. And Bert is like, I fucking hate balloons. I hate balloons. And Tom's like, do you actually, or is this a bit? And he's like, no, I hate balloons. I hate how unpredictable they are. I hate how they look like they're going to pop at any moment. I hate it. It gives me such anxiety. I feel like I'm going to have a heart attack. And he's like, because we have 500 balloons in the back. And Bert goes, you do not. And he goes, we do. We have 500 balloons in the back. And Nadav is going to get them. And he's like, Tom, I was having a good time. And I really don't want to end this podcast right now because there are 500 balloons.
Oh my God.
And, yeah, like he's dead serious. And you can see that he's not having fun anymore. And Tom's trying to tell his producer, like, leave him. Don't bring him in. And nobody can tell if this is a bit anymore or not. And so Tom's like, I'm serious. Don't bring the balloons. Don't bring the balloons in. And Tom goes, I really wish you would have told me it wasn't a bit before I spent $2,500 on balloons. And Bert's like, you didn't. He goes, I have so many balloons being sent to your house right now.
Oh, no.
Oh, my God, dude. It was so funny. And Bert's like, I'm serious. Like, I'll call my daughter. And he calls his daughter and he's like, Georgia, baby, what do I think about balloons? And she goes, you love them. They're your favorite thing. And he goes, fuck you. And like he hangs up and he calls his wife and he's like, Leanne, I really need your help right now. What do I think about balloons? And he holds up to the mic. She goes, you love them. They're your favorite thing. And he hangs up and he's like, I fucking hate my family. Oh my God, dude.
Oh, that's incredible.
It was so worth the $10. And they pre-recorded stuff. Like they went and saw a dominatrix.
Ooh.
And oh, dude, it's so funny. Because like they walk in there and the dominatrix almost immediately is like, all right, you fat fucking pigs, get in here. And they're like, ooh. And at one point she's like, take off your shirt. And Bert's like already there. And he does it. And then she looks at Tom and goes, take off your shirt. And he's like, I'm not going to take off my shirt. She goes, take off your shirt, faggot. And like she's demeaning him. And then he starts laughing at that so hard. And she's trying to get him to take his shirt off and like lay on this whipping table thing. And she's like, she goes, come on, you fat retard. Don't break my table. And she's demeaning the shit out of them. Jesus. And it's so funny. Like Tom loves the word retard because he got in so much trouble for it for a special a few years back.
I remember that.
Even though the joke is not about mentally handicapped people at all. But yeah, just because he says the word, he caught so much flack for it. And it's just a running joke on the podcast. Oh, dude, it was worth the $10.
So are they not doing Sober October this year?
Joe is, but Tom and Bert aren't because of COVID. And then Joe moved to Texas like right at the end. And so like they didn't get to coordinate anything. But
I guess that is fair. It does not feel like the middle of October right now.
No, it doesn't. Maddie and I were at Spirit Halloween, and I was like, I can't, like, we're more than halfway to Halloween.
Yeah. It does not feel like it at all.
Yeah, it's closer to Halloween than it isn't. And because I was, like, debating buying candy now, and I'm like, it's still too early. It's like, Halloween's like 2.5 weeks away.
Yeah, it's fucking nuts. But it also feels like... It doesn't feel like October, but it also feels like we're already done with Halloween. Like I look at my Halloween decorations and go, I think it's time to put these away.
I just bought more lights last night to put out.
Nice.
Yeah, and I bought like a scarecrow thing to put in the tree.
I bought one string of lights that have like little tarantulas on them.
Yeah, us too.
And then I didn't realize I hung them up too high. I just hung them on a like blank wall that we had.
Yeah.
So I started hanging them up, and then I realized like the cable wasn't gonna reach from where I was. So there's a big sharp decline so it can reach.
That's funny.
And it looks so terrible. It's perfect.
Yeah. I love Halloween, and Maddie's going to be a witch for Halloween, and we're going to put Beerus in a little witch costume too.
Nice.
And and then I'm going to be Maddie's familiar. So I'm going to wear a rash guard and leggings that are too small for me, and it's all black. And then I have a cat tail and cat ears and a collar. And so...
Oh, you're not going to go with the butt plug tail?
No, because there are children in the neighborhood, and we will be giving out candy.
Okay, and? Wear a skirt.
Oh, no.
I'm not telling you to hang brain.
What if the kids are like, where's that tail attached to?
Then you tell them, I'll tell you when you're older, or don't worry about it, or...
Come back when you're 18.
When you're 18, I'll show you.
If that's not one of the creepiest fucking things that we don't think about, it's like when a Disney star turns 18 and everyone's like, yeah.
Now it's okay for us to find her hot. Before we just did it in secret.
Like, that is disgusting.
Mm-hmm. It's gross.
I watched Rocky Horror Picture Show for the first time like yesterday, 2 days ago.
Oh yeah? What'd you think?
It was fucking weird.
Mm-hmm.
It was bananas weird. The plot made no sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I was vastly entertained.
It's not a good movie.
No.
But it is very entertaining.
And I was reading stories about it, and it's more of a parody of movies of the time,
mm-hmm.
of musical movies of the time, which, you know, has aged poorly or fantastically, depending on your view. And so, like, there was a lot about it that was super weird. And because when the credits rolled, it said, you know, Susan Sarandon as whoever. And then I saw her, and she's like 20. I'm like, isn't Susan Sarandon like 70 now?
Yeah.
How old is this movie?
It's from like the late 70s.
1975.
Yeah. It's got Tim Curry.
Obviously, yeah.
A young Meatloaf.
Yeah.
Susan Sarandon.
Those were all the names I recognized.
Those are all the big names, yeah. I can't think of anybody else.
It was super entertaining. There were parts of it that were pretty funny. And while I was reading the Wikipedia for it, it is the longest running theatrical release.
I believe that.
Of musicals, I believe. I think that was the caveat of musicals. But because it's been shown in like limited releases all over in various theaters too, it is the longest running theatrical release.
Well, and I want to go see it in a theater, but it has that same sort of thing that a lot of cult movies do, where it's like, okay, when you go to see it in a theater, these are the rules. Whenever you see this character, you yell this out, or you throw this at the screen. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's one of those. It's like when people go see The Room and they throw spoons at the screen. Yeah.
That seems like a lot of fun.
Yeah. And next, Maddie and I are going to watch The Disaster Artist because she's seen The Room. And so now we're going to watch The Disaster Artist.
The Disaster Artist is really fun.
It's solid.
It's weird that James Franco and Dave Franco are playing two characters that are not related. But like, you really don't... It's not distracting, if that makes sense.
No, because they look alike, but I don't think like it's so much so that it's not like they're twins and they're playing people like, we're not related.
Yeah, they look similar enough that you can tell they come from the same family.
For sure.
But James has a little bit of like prosthetics on to play Tommy, because he's got like a little bit wider brow, and I think his nose is a little bit different.
And maybe Johnny is vampire. We see.
But oh man, that movie's a lot of fun. And it's got a pretty good cast in that too, like Seth Rogen, Paul Scheer, Jason Mantzoukas, Zac Efron. Yeah, I forgot about that.
God, dude, it's so fucking funny. I love where he's like, no, you really gotta like scare the shit out of him. I want you to beat the fuck out of him. Just get in there.
I love he's like psyching himself up before the scene and all that. Like people are terrified.
Yeah. And then afterward, he's like, "Great job, guys." Because if I remember correctly, he's like holding him down and like pointing the gun at his face.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, dude.
Oh, Nathan Fielder's also in that.
Yeah.
He has a very small role in that.
And I love that it takes liberties with some stuff. Like with Seth Rogen's character, you know, they run the camera shop and Tommy is like, they're like, "What kind of camera you want?" And he's like, "What do you have?" It's like, "Well, you know, digital or film."
That's not a liberty. They did that.
Oh, no, I know I did that, but they take liberty with like, you know, the dialogue, obviously, because that's not in the room.
Yeah.
And Seth Rogen's like, "This guy wants digital and film." It's like, "Yeah, fuck it. It's like $6,000 a day. We get double and he's retarded.
Mm-hmm.
Who cares?" It's like, I don't know. That feels wrong to take advantage of. I'm like, fuck it.
Yeah. There's a lot about the room that makes it super interesting.
Yeah.
Like,
he refuses to speak his native language. He won't tell people where he's from.
I think I read somewhere recently that they like actually did narrow it down. And like he was born in like Poland or something. But like, yeah, he claims he's an American.
Yeah, he claims he's from like Idaho or some shit.
From
like,
New Orleans.
New Orleans. Okay,
Yeah.
I thought he said he was a Midwest boy, but
no,
yeah, he thinks he's.
He claims he's from New Orleans. He paid for that entire movie himself, like out of his own pocket.
$6 million that nobody can account for.
Nobody knows where it came from. Nobody knows how he got all that money.
No. There are endlessly fascinating things about that movie.
But he's clearly not from America. But to hear him go, "I'm American with accent, so what?" It's like, no, you're not.
Where the fuck are you from, Tommy?
It's okay to be from Poland, Tommy.
Yeah.
Just don't lie to us about it.
It's so weird.
But yeah, he never, like, whenever they ask him how old he is, he always changes the answer. It's like a bunch of just like super weird choices.
Yeah, it's bananas. I do like in the movie that like he's super proud of it, and then people start laughing at it in the theaters and mocking it, and he gets upset, and then he does some mental gymnastics, and he's like, "No, it was always comedy.
Yeah,
it was always meant to be silly."
Yeah, they one of the things that I read was that in that scene where like he locks himself in the bathroom and his future wife, not fiance. They never say fiance. It's always future husband or future wife. Anyway, when he locks himself in the bathroom and she's like, "Tommy, come out of there," and he goes, "In a minute, bitch," or whatever. And it's funny, and the whole crew started laughing, and he demanded to know what was funny.
It's
like
so
he
funny.
Stopped the scene and was like, "Why are you laughing? What is funny?"
"In a minute, bitch."
And then after everybody sort of loved it, kind of ironically, he was like, No, that's what it was always meant to be. But you can't make so bad it's good.
No.
Like that has to be genuine. And you
that's
can almost
the only way it
tell.
works.
Yeah,
that's the only way it works. It has to be made with the intention of being good, but it's terrible.
Mm-hmm. You have to be able to see the earnestness for you to appreciate how fucking awful it is.
The IMDb like trivia about it is so good.
Mm-hmm.
It's so funny. Like, what's one of them? It's like everything between the second sex scene and the birthday party has no relevance on the plot at all. And
does
that's
not
like
change
40
anything
minutes.
about the plot.
That's like 40 minutes of the movie.
There are 2 sex scenes with Tommy and his future wife, but they only recorded one.
Right.
He insisted on another one that wasn't in the script, and the actress was like, "I'm not comfortable with that." So they just reused footage from the first scene.
Yeah, it's It's incredible. And in The Disaster Artist, I like that one of them has breast cancer, and she's like, I kept asking like why that never comes back up, but I never got answers. That never gets resolved.
Yeah. And the line is something like, I definitely have cancer, or some
Yeah.
shit like that. It's so funny.
Oh my God. The Room is, you got to watch The Room first and then The Disaster Artist. And with, I love that at the end of The Disaster Artist, they show the side-by-side scenes of like what they shot and then the scene from The Room.
Mm-hmm.
It's perfect. It's flawless.
Oh God, it's so good.
Oh, so bad it's good is incredible.
I really want to read the book.
The Disaster Artist?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure a lot of it is in the IMDb trivia by this point, but
yeah,
I want to read his account of what happened, like in more detail than the movie can really go into.
Right. I don't like reading.
I like reading. I just don't make the time for it anymore.
I don't like that reading has become something that people like gloat about.
Dude,
and
it's been that way since television was invented.
That's true. You just see it a lot where people are like, I read this much. It's like, oh, okay, good for you. And it's like, let me recommend you a good book. And it's like, I don't need a good book. And it's like, you could tell how smart someone is by how many books they read. And it's like,
yeah, that's
why can't I prefer a visual medium?
Yeah, it all goes back to when television was invented and it's going to rot your brain and whatever. It's the same thing. It's just told in a different style.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's like, why do I have to read, some textbook when I could watch a TED Talk and get the literal exact same information out of it?
Yeah. And in some cases, people learn better that way.
Yeah. I prefer visual. Like I have a hard time like sitting down and like reading. My eyes start to wander and I kind of start to think about other things, and I'll read the same sentence like over and over and over again, be like, what the fuck did it say? I didn't read it.
For me, it's like an investment of time. Where it's like, I really don't feel like sitting down for like 6 hours and reading this book. And I know it doesn't have to be that way, but it's like, I just don't want to devote that much attention to it when I can watch reruns of Parks and Rec and fucking play video games.
Dude, I was thinking about a Parks and Rec line. It's my favorite line in all of Parks and Rec. And it's where they're showing the other city council member. Fuck, what's his name? The one that keeps getting in trouble with the sex scandals.
Dexhart.
Yes.
Councilman
Dexhart, who's hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them is where he's making his apologies, and he says for sexting, texting, and text-mexting. And he goes, which is where you send pictures of your genitals from the bathroom of a Chili's to go. And the first time I heard that, I lost my shit. I had to pause it and rewind. That is the funniest line I've ever heard.
One of my favorite lines in the series is in, I want to say season 2. It's either like season 2 or 3, and it's Aziz and Chris. The fuck is his name?
Chris Pratt?
Chris Pratt. Thank you. I couldn't think of his last name.
Yeah.
Aziz and Chris Pratt are digitizing records on like the 4th floor, which is the shitty floor of the town hall.
Yeah, the library. Yeah.
And so they're digitizing records, and Dana Gould comes in and like grabs a pot of coffee, and he's like, oh, is this so-and-so's office? And they go, oh, no, they retired or whatever. He takes when he's done pouring his coffee, he smashes the thing on the wall and goes, tell him the ball's in his court, and walks out, and they all go, what?
That show is so fucking funny.
I love Parks and Rec.
It's objectively hilarious.
And I just finished The Good Place recently.
That's a good show too.
It is. And it sucks that it only got 4 seasons, because I would watch like 10 more. But I'm glad that it it had a story it wanted to tell. It
Yeah.
told it, so it ended.
Yeah.
It didn't go on for like 4 seasons too long, like another show that that guy created.
Which show is this?
The Office.
Oh, I couldn't get into The Office. The mockumentary style, I can't get into it.
That's fair.
I can't get into it. And then people are like, you got to watch The British Office. It's different. Like, I like a dry sense of humor. I watched it. I couldn't get into that either.
I don't like Ricky Gervais.
That's fair.
That's
fair.
As
I like his comedy.
I don't.
Mm.
I just don't think Ricky Gervais is funny because everything I ever see, it feels like every joke he tells ends in a parenthetical, like, are you triggered? And it's like, I don't hate you because you're, I can't handle the truth or whatever. I hate you because you're an asshole.
I saw something. So Bill Burr did a SNL monologue a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I love Bill Burr. I think he's hilarious. And I had seen I'd seen like article hit pieces on it, and the headlines were like, too offensive for whatever, or it's like, is Bill Burr canceled? I'm like, okay, let me watch it. And I watched it. It was super fucking tame. It was fine. And for curiosity, I just kind of scrolled through the comments. None of the comments were, this is offensive, he's a piece of shit. All the comments were, the woke people are too, they can't handle this. Or it's like, I can't believe people are offended by this. I didn't see anyone who was actually like offended by it. Everyone was mad at the people who are offended by it, who I couldn't find.
It's like that fucking, I think it's a Gary Larson comic where like they're all a bunch of wolves dressed as sheep.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes, wait, hold on a minute. Nobody here is a sheep? Or some shit like that, where it's like everybody's mad at the straw man they created on both sides. The hottest take I saw about that monologue was like, yeah, people have been saying this for years. Why is it just now getting attention? Because Bill Burr's a white man.
It was real weird, and like I can't even remember. There was one thing he said in it, and I think the only legitimate takeaway you could say is he tried to make a legitimate commentary about how people are just hopping on bandwagons and kind of being pussies.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just a legitimate, it's like, you guys don't actually think that, do you? And he made an actual joke, and I chuckled at it. I laughed. Not a single person in the audience like laughed. You could tell they were physically uncomfortable about laughing about that on camera.
Yeah.
And it's like, come on, quit being a bitch.
Yeah. I don't know. He wasn't saying anything that hasn't already been said.
No.
So like I don't understand any of the flack that he sort of received for it.
Yeah, I don't get the flack. And then, I just kind of scrolled through the comments, and I went down, I probably looked at the top 100. I couldn't find a single person who was actually offended.
Yeah.
Everyone was mad at the people who are offended that I couldn't find.
Yeah, it's bizarre. Just the way we interact with each other online is just so broken.
So we're not going to get political. I just like, I follow Trump because just to kind of see what he does. And he always tweets that he's going to a rally at some place, and it's always a city or town I've never fucking heard of, and it makes me laugh. He's always like, I'm going to Mitchell-Rondotoga, Michigan. And it's like, where the fuck is that? And you look, and it's got a population of 1,000.
Well, the weird thing to me is that, and looking back, I think Obama did it a few times too. But like going to rallies like in the middle of your presidency, and like, he was holding rallies in like 2017, 2018. It's like, that's weird. Like you're not running for re-election yet. You've already won. Yeah. So what is that about?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm curious about like what it's actually like to be president, and no president, like the only one whose opinion I would even read would be Obama's.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't necessarily agree with all of his policies and everything, but I
No.
think he's an excellent statesman.
He is very charismatic for
He's
sure,
incredible.
and he's very, I hate to use the term, but like well spoken,
Yeah.
for lack of a better term.
Right. He's charismatic. He's easy to listen to. Like whenever you like, he always presented himself very highly, and it's like this is someone I can get behind as saying like, I don't necessarily agree with everything he says, but like,
And he was willing to like make fun of himself,
yeah,
which to me,
it's like I'm not ashamed to be like, that's my that is the president of the United States. I'm not ashamed to say that. So his book about like what it's actually like to be president, I would read.
yeah.
I am curious about like the inner workings, because I like to joke about if I became president, one of my first questions would be like, Area 51. Yes? Yes?
Yes, it's real. It's just experimental aircraft. Now the aliens.
Huh? and then
I would
it's like,
love
Area
that
51,
answer.
it's just an air base. We keep it secret because we're working on stealth stuff.
It's like, oh,
Damn it, Roswell.
Now, if you want aliens, we can take you to a trip to Montana where we have buried all of the bodies.
I like to think, I go, Roswell? And it's like, and they look at you and they go, Roswell. Like, yeah. And then you look at JFK and they go,
JFK is saying, it's a little above your pay grade.
yeah.
I'm the president. And
You heard me.
It's on a need-to-know basis.
That's between the two coroners and the 4 gunmen. 4 gunmen.
Wait, Oswald?
And then they just look at you and they go, shh. You just get cryptic hints throughout your presidency. They come in and they go, did you hear about the 4 gunmen during the JFK assassination?
And then they walk out of the room.
Yeah, and then they leave.
Mr. President, you know there were 4 gunmen at the JFK assassination, right? What?
Huh? What?
Goodbye.
Yeah. Goodbye.
And then the next morning they come in and they go, Roswell was a cover-up.
Yeah, you know what I heard around the cooler? Roswell was a cover-up. For what? Just leave.
He does that thing where like you can tell he knows, but he just doesn't tell you, so he just kind of shrugs and
you know what? I don't know. Just leaves.
And then walks out. You son of a bitch. You tell me what you know right now.
That would be incredible. The queen is actually 250. She found the fountain. The fountain? It's real? Some say. They just leave.
According to some people, Hillary actually is a lizard person. But you didn't hear that from me. I was like, what? Is she the only one? She's the only one, right? And he just, and just walks away.
And then they also drop innocuous, like, dumb shit. It's like, Bill Clinton lip synced his saxophone solo on Arsenio Hall. And then they just leave. It's like, why would I need to know that?
I believe that.
Okay. Sure.
The Nixon administration used the war on drugs as an excuse to lock up minorities. And it's like, I believe that. I know the tapes came out. Like we know that happened.
they leak stuff that's public knowledge.
Oh man.
You ever hear of MK Ultra? Everyone has.
Yeah.
And then they go into detail. They like give you a briefing about it. It's like
the CIA trained people to slip LSD in people's drinks, right? Yes, I know.
I know.
I read the reports.
It's public knowledge. Everyone knows this. 9/11 took place on September 11th, 2001, right?
I would love for a president to come in and be like, okay, 9/11. And they go, no, it wasn't an inside job, but no, it wasn't the Taliban either. And just leave it at that. So we didn't do it, and the Taliban didn't do it.
Oh, man.
It wasn't the Taliban. It was air traffic control just fucked up. Gave him the wrong coordinates. 3 times?
3 times? What about the one in Pennsylvania? He had a stroke.
Yeah, pilot had a stroke. What are you gonna do?
He just had a stroke.
And the co-pilot choked on his lunch.
He choked on his lunch.
It's just a bad set of circumstances.
They were getting a dry shampoo from the stewardess, and it got in their eyes. And, shit happens. It's like, shit happens? That's your definition? Okay.
I guess shit does happen, but never quite like that.
Incredible. I would never want to be president, though.
Oh, no.
Jokes aside, I would never want to be president.
Presidents don't have as much power as we typically think they do, but it is still too much power for me. More than
I always thought. I'm like, yeah, the president is the most powerful, man currently. I didn't realize they had as much power as has been expanded.
Yep. Turns out if you have enough people willing to play dirty for you, you can just do whatever the hell you want.
Wild.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
If you have enough people who are willing to do your bidding, you're just made of Teflon.
I sent it to you. Did you see he shared the Babylon Bee article?
Yeah.
Oh, dude. That
Christ
made me laugh.
almighty.
As soon as I saw the headline, I'm like, I don't remember hearing that Twitter went down. And then I saw Babylon Bee. I'm like, no, he didn't. He did.
Oh, it's incredible.
And in the second paragraph, it's like CEO Jack Dorsey saw that too much negative press had been made about a Democrat. And so he broke a glass container labeled "break in case of bad publicity for Democrats." And inside was a sledgehammer to break all of Twitter's servers.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God. It was so good. It's like you didn't even read one fucking paragraph.
And I bet most of his followers didn't either.
The first one. I didn't know the Babylon Bee was satire until, I don't know, a couple years ago. I saw a headline that seemed realistic. I don't remember what it was. And as I was scrolling, I'm like, this isn't real. There's no way this is real. I got to the end, and it finally said the Babylon Bee is a satire website.
I don't remember how I found out about the Babylon Bee. I think somebody told me about it and told me it was satire. So like I didn't have that moment where I was like, is this for real or whatever? But I got tricked by like a wrestling satire website because I, for whatever reason, was just looking up stuff about Mick Foley. I just wanted to read about Cactus Jack or Mankind or one of the 8 other names he wrestled under.
I never got into the WWE, but it seems so fucking fascinating.
But anyway, yeah, I got tricked. Because I read this article about how he was doing this interview, and then all of a sudden he found like a thumbtack in the back of his head from a match he did a long time ago or something. And I was like, there's no fucking way. What? And then I looked at it, and it was satire. And I was like, oh, I wanted that to be real.
Wrestling is so insane. I think it's almost better if like one friend is super into it, and then the other friend passingly watches big events.
I think the best way to consume wrestling is the way that I do it, where you just let people tell you cool stories about it.
Justin made me watch a thing like before WrestleMania. I don't remember the wrestlers, but as we're watching it, it was, I think Roman Reigns was one of them. And it's like, okay, so Roman Reigns is going to wrestle this guy, and this other guy is in a shark cage suspended above the ring. And I went, why is he in a shark cage? And Justin goes, because every time these two guys wrestle, he always comes in and interrupts them. And so now they're just going to suspend him up there so he can't interrupt. I'm like, that's fucking incredible. And so the wrestling match is going on. The guy in the shark cage is shaking it and like getting all mad. And at one point he like calls his buddy over and he drops down a pair of brass knuckles. I was like, what? You can do that? And he's like, shut up and watch. And so we're watching it, and Roman is about to pin the guy that he's wrestling, and some third asshole shows up from like the wings, and he comes in and beats the fuck out of Roman and pins him. And I went, "Who is that? What is this?" It's insanity.
So I never got into wrestling as a kid, which sucks because it was like the tail end of like one of the greatest wrestling eras of all time. It was like right at the end of like the New World Order stuff, and like so you had Triple H, Stone Cold, The Rock, Chris Jericho, like people like that. It was sort of like the mid to late point of their careers. But I never got into it as a kid because it was like, that's fake. Everybody knows that's fake.
Right.
And I didn't understand until someone pointed it out to me later that, like, yeah, nobody's convinced this is real. That's why it's fun.
It took a bit for me to realize it's like, it's not, you are watching athletes in the sense that they are doing physical movements and endeavors and everything.
You're not watching an athletic competition. You're watching a TV show about an athletic competition.
Exactly. And it's like, you're not watching like a fight for a real belt and like who is the truly like best fighter with, you know, physical skill and acumen. You're watching solely entertainment.
Yeah. And that was the thing about like Kurt Angle, because Kurt Angle was an actual Olympic
gold
wrestler.
medalist.
Yeah. And so he came in, and that was his thing, was like, I'm an actual wrestler.
Yeah. And you're watching a TV show, basically. You're watching a play. And it's like, when you watch it through that lens, you can get over your high and mighty, like, it's not real. It's like, it's pretty entertaining, though.
Yeah. But some of those people's like storylines and stuff are so bizarre, or they're just so much larger than life. Like the Ultimate Warrior he comes from parts unknown and like all this crazy shit that like I feel like we just don't see that as much anymore.
No, you don't see Brock Lesnar's suplex counter.
No, you just see his big dumb sword tattoo on his chest.
You gotta be a crazy man.
I haven't been watching, but there's a wrestler named Bray Wyatt, who I think it's Bray Wyatt. Anyway, he wrestles as the Demon now, and his whole thing is that he's been possessed by a demon, and he wrestles now.
I love it. Yeah, I'm not super into it, but I like hearing stories. It's a crazy thing.
Like when Vince McMahon went to the hospital and Stone Cold dressed up as a nurse and beat the shit out of him with a bedpan.
I like where Vince McMahon wrestled God.
Yeah. They just had a spotlight on the stage.
Oh my God. And it's so fucking funny because Vince is mic'd up and he's like, pat him down. And like talking to the ref, and the ref's like, huh? And he's like, pat him the fuck down.
And there's that great Scott Steiner promo.
We've watched
Kurt
it
Angle
so many times. He can't beat me. It's like a normal man's chance at winning a 3-man combat is 33 1/3 chance, but Kurt Angle knows he can't beat me.
And he's not even going to try. And I'm a genetic freak, and I'm not normal. So you take my 66 2/3 chance, and it's so good.
Oh my God.
It's so good. And
It's
he's
incredible.
stumbling over words. Oh, it's just incredible.
It's one take.
The numbers don't lie. And they spell disaster
for you, Joe.
At sacrifice.
That's it. Oh my God. I forget who it was. Someone brought up, there was a wrestling promo and the wrestlers are on like a normal ass news network. And so they're not doing it like for like WWE. It's a normal ass mainstream news network. And all the wrestlers are black. I think there's one white guy in their group. And they're doing their promo into the camera. And at one point, one of the black guys drops the N-word. And he clearly wasn't supposed to. He just did it on accident. You know, that's just how he talks. And he did it. And he does it and he immediately goes, he breaks kayfabe and just like fucks up.
Yeah.
And some of the other wrestlers just got to go.
They just like kind of take over for him.
Yeah.
Did you see the one where Vince drops the N-bomb?
No.
He's going back
in character, or
yes, yeah, it's part of the thing where, or at least I hope it was. It was shot like it was. He's going back and he's talking to a few of the wrestlers. I'm not really familiar with a lot of them. So I don't know who it was, but he's like, "What's good? What's good, my N-word?"
Oh,
and like another one goes,
that.
"Did he just? Are you fucking serious?"
I did see that.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's incredible.
Oh man.
I wish more sports could have some theatrics like that.
Yeah, I tweeted about it a while ago. It was probably over a year ago, but like wrestling is what happens when you give a bunch of theater kids HGH.
That's true.
Yeah. It's just theater with muscle men.
Yeah. That is like, back to Rocky Horror. That's what made me laugh is, so Tim Curry like sends the couple off to bed, and then he shows up in the Susan Sarandon's room, and she's like, "No, I would never cheat on Brad." And he's like, "Come on, baby." And she's like, "Fuck Brad." And like immediately gives into it. And then Tim Curry shows up in Brad's room,
and the same thing happens.
He's like, no, I'm not like that. And he's like, "Come on, give in to your desire." And he's like, "I have a fiance." And he's like, "Fuck your fiance." And he goes, "Fuck my fiance." And lets Tim Curry blow him. And I love it because Susan Sarandon later like looks at the little TV camera thing, and it's like Brad laying in the bed and Tim Curry smoking a cigarette on the side of the bed. And she's like, "No."
Like she didn't just do the exact same thing.
Yeah, exactly. And then she goes and fucks Muscle Man, Creator Boy, Rocky.
Yeah. So I remember the first time I watched it, I was at my girlfriend at the time's house, and she had some other friends over, and one of them was like, "Oh, this movie's disgusting. It promotes like premarital sex and gay sex." And I like,
what fucking loser was this?
Some fucking loser. But I, like, as a joke, and I kind of feel bad because I don't think they were joking, I went, yeah, obviously. And they, like, left right after that.
Oh.
That girl and her boyfriend, like, left right after that. And then I never saw them again, so I don't feel too bad.
Dude, people who are painfully fucking lame like that. There was a girl we went to high school with. She was a few years below us. And she told me once, she goes, "I think I made the class mad at me." I'm like, "Why?" And she goes, "Well, we were going to watch a video in class, and the teacher said, there's some light swearing in this, and if that makes anyone uncomfortable, like, raise your hand." And I was the only person who raised my hand. And so we didn't watch the video. And I was like, "You couldn't just go out in the hall?"
Yeah.
Like, because you're upset at the word bitch or something like that? It's like, get the fuck over yourself.
I don't understand adults that don't like cursing. It's like, I get it if you don't want to say it, right?
Yeah.
Like, that makes sense to me. That's your choice, whatever. But if you can't even hear it without it, what the fuck is wrong with you? You're an adult. You can handle the F word.
It's so weird. And yeah, I mean, we were in high school, and I think they were a sophomore or freshman at the time, but still, it's like, you're in high school.
Yeah.
We hear the craziest shit walking through the halls because it's teenagers who think that nothing can hurt them.
I've been saying fuck since like the 4th grade.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, fuck has been a regular word in my vocabulary easily since I was 8.
Yeah. Which kind of reminds me of one of my favorite jokes in the sequelitis videos. Have you ever seen those?
Is that a cracked thing?
No, it's Ego Raptor.
Yeah.
So he put out like 3 or 4 videos that are just like, hey, here's a sequel that does something better than its predecessor. Here's one that does it worse.
Okay,
and stuff like that. And in one of them, I can't remember which one, there's one where he goes, I know you're not a little kid because I say the word fuck a lot and you're okay with that. And and like I still think about that and laugh. I know you're not a little kid because I say the word fuck a lot and you're okay with that.
That's good. Yeah, I don't get people who like enforce a weird moral superiority like when they're adults, and it's like, what are we talking about here? Swearing and sex? Get over yourself.
It's the same fucking people who brag about not owning a television or how many books they read or jerk off motion is correct.
Yeah. It's insane. Who was it? Was it Louis who talked about jerking off like you have to finish? Wouldn't it be great? Ironic what ended up happening to him.
Yeah. Looking back is like, oh, I think he wanted people to watch him fake masturbate.
Did you watch his new special?
No.
The one it wasn't quite finished. Because that's right when all the lockdowns started. Mm-hmm. And he was like, I still had like another month or two of touring and then I was going to film it. But I mean, it's mostly done. And so he released like a comedy club set he did like while some clubs were open. Mm-hmm. And while he worked the hour. And one of the jokes is he's like, look, you know, we all know what happened to me. And he's like, and the worst part about it is like, really the worst part about it is that every one of you in here has your thing. But the glory about it is only you and your partner know about your thing. Everyone knows my thing. Now everybody knows what I like. Mm-hmm. And that is the worst part about this.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny. He's like, it's not a secret. Like, I'll never not meet anyone who's like, you want to jerk off, huh? Like, yeah.
I don't know. I never checked it out. Not out
funny.
Of any like moral outrage or anything, but just because I saw people on Twitter being like, yeah, it's mostly just old man humor. Just grumpy old man humor.
I don't know. I saw people on Twitter talking about Dave Chappelle's special too, and it's like, did you watch it? What are you talking about?
The only thing I heard about it was that he had a joke. Mm-hmm. He had like one joke that basically boiled down to trans people are weird and they make me uncomfortable or some shit like that.
I think that's a way you could read it.
Like I said, I didn't watch it. So
right. And it's like, I watched it and it's like, I guess if you wanted to read it that way, you could. But like, at the same time, it's just a joke. A lot of people got really mad that he boiled it down to alphabet people. Mm-hmm. And they're like, that's demeaning and everything. And it's like, it's a joke. And when the acronym of your association is LGBTQIA, what's that, like 7 letters? That's like 30% of the alphabet. And it's like, it's a joke, and it's not even that far of a stretch. Like, calm down.
There are some people who genuinely just are extremely sensitive.
Yeah. What is good about, I mean, it has nothing to do with like the content of the special, with the exception of he's about to start a joke and someone's phone starts ringing and the whole audience goes, ooh. And he goes, what is this, high school? Motherfuckers probably got... He goes, what is this, high school? And he says the N-word, but it's like, motherfuckers probably got a babysitter or something. Take that shit outside. I'm doing something. It's really funny.
Oh, that is really
crowd,
good.
Ooh. He's like, what was high school?
I always love a good like heckler gets destroyed video or whatever.
Yeah.
There was one I watched where this guy was talking about how weird it is that I want to say it was like Alabama or something bans abortion, even though it's one of the places where abortion should be mandatory. He's like, no good ever came from Alabama. It's like no one special has come from Alabama or anything like that. Like Helen Keller, you could abort her. It like wouldn't change anything. And some drunk woman in the audience was mad about it. And he was like, she's not here. Like, she's dead. And even if she was here, she couldn't hear me.
Yeah. I love it. Didn't Martin Luther King Jr. come from Alabama?
I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just a joke. It's just a joke.
Yeah.
And it's fun. It's funny. Like, I don't get, it's like, I love where some people get mad at stuff and they're like, that's not funny. It's like, well, they laughed, so it must be funny.
There is a certain point where it kind of like normalizes things, if that makes sense. So like, there's a joke in the first Ace Ventura.
Yeah.
The killer is a trans woman, and they treat it like it's disgusting that this woman was born a man, or whatever, however you want to define that, and that influences how people feel about trans people to a certain extent. It's not the only thing. It's not the only reason some people are uncomfortable with trans people, but it is a contributing factor.
I do not like the criticisms about that specific movie where they're like, look, if you want to say like this reaction he has where Jim Carrey, like, he kisses Einhorn, the female trans person. I'm going to stop saying that because they're not trans. It's someone cross-dressing for revenge. They aren't trans. They don't feel that way.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
I knew he did
Dan
it for
Marino.
Revenge, but
it's not Dan Marino. It's the kicker.
I knew he did it for revenge, but I thought the way they treated it was like he went off the deep end and became a woman so that he could get revenge.
No, it was, well, yeah, he did it, but it, like, there was no, like, I know you don't need surgery to say you're trans, but like the guy who was cross-dressing and pretending to be a woman was just doing it for revenge so she could take down Dan Marino. That was all it was. Like, this person was not actually trans. And when Jim Carrey made out with her, and he goes home and like sets his clothes on fire in the bathroom and is like gagging himself and throwing up, like, you can say that that's an overreaction and not a good one to have just because you kissed a man. Like, you can say that, but like saying that the movie is transphobic because they like do all this stuff, it's like, the person's not trans.
Yeah. So I won't condemn like the whole movie.
No, I think it's funny.
And say like, I'll never watch it again or whatever. But I can look back and go, yeah, that scene's not great.
Yeah, sure. You can say the joke didn't age well, but I think the overreaction is what's funny. I love hyperbole and overreaction, and cuddling a bucket of flaming clothes in a bathroom is hilarious to me.
There's also a joke in the IT Crowd. Have you ever seen that one?
No. Is that the one with Jimmy O Yang and... I
don't think so. It's a British show about about these people that work in IT, basically, and their boss is this like who's the guy that owns Virgin? Richard Branson. Okay. He's like a Richard Branson type where he's got billions of dollars and he's eccentric and he's kind of an idiot.
Right.
And he hooks up with this reporter in one episode that is a trans woman. And she says like, wow, you're really cool about this. You know, when I told you I was, I think the way she phrased it was like, I used to be a man or something like that.
Right.
It's like, you were really cool about that. And like, I'm glad we're still able to date and stuff like that. And he's like, oh yeah, I don't care about your nationality. And she was like, what are you talking about? And he finally puts the pieces together and finds out that she is a trans woman. And then they get in a big fist fight.
Like an actual fist fight.
An actual fist fight, and that's the joke. And it's like,
okay.
I feel very bad about that.
If the joke is that they get into a fist fight?
Yeah, because she was born a man, that means it's okay for him to hit her.
Oh.
And so that's why it's okay for them to get in this big fight, because he was tricked.
Okay, I have a problem with him saying he was tricked, but if for whatever reason they're like about to, they're having a normal argument over, I don't know, like you never decide where to go to eat or something like that, and then she smacks him, and then he smacks her, and it's like, equal. Come on, let's do this. We were both men at one point. Like, I think that would be okay. Versus like, you tricked me, that's not okay, and then they get into a fight. Like, that's not okay.
Yeah, it just I don't know. It's weird seeing violence depicted against trans women as a joke when in real life trans women face a lot more violence than you and I do just for being trans.
That's fair. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not trans.
I'm not either. It just is weird to me, that's all.
Yeah, that's fair. It is weird to make jokes about people. Like, it has to be done well, obviously.
Yeah.
And like, cause I saw an article recently because like I like to do stand up, but everything's been closed for months. And so I try to do writing, but it's hard to, like, when you're not experiencing anything, it's hard to like write stuff. And so I was just reading some articles, and someone was like, you should always punch up. You can never punch down. And it's like, that's not true. That's just not true. Like, I can only make fun of rich white people. Like,
so
that's just not true. If there is something funny that happens, like, you can point out obscurity or absurdity.
Yeah.
You can't just, I guess I get what they're saying, but like, the way they said it is wrong. I get what you're saying, that like, you can't like pick on minorities or, discriminated against groups.
It's one thing to point things out.
Yeah.
And it's another for the whole joke to be, it's funny that they're different. You know what I mean? You know?
Yeah, you can't say it's funny because I'm better than them because they're brown or whatever. Like, that's not funny. That's fucked up. It's another thing to be like, black communities have this, and that is funny because I'm an outsider, and that's different to me.
Yeah, as an outsider, like, this seems funny. You know what I mean?
There's a way to do
delicate
it. There's
balance.
There's tact to it, and that's the thing, is like, almost always these hit pieces in these articles are like, comedians are picking on whatever, and it's like, those are bad comedians.
Yeah.
The good ones know what they're doing.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. You think it's about time to wrap it up? We still got more time?
No, we're good. Hour 12.
Yeah. All right.
Where can people follow you, buddy?
No, where can people follow you?
Where the fuck can people follow you?
No, you always do it first. I want to do it first this time.
Fine.
Where do people follow you?
You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Michael Van Ant. Start spelling my name. You'll find it. I have pictures of my dogs, and I occasionally post jokes. You can also follow the podcast on, I think, just YouTube at this point. You can get the video versions of the podcast on YouTube, Flirting with Failure, the name of our channel, and on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, anywhere you get podcasts.
During
you
your
can find
plugs.
us. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, you're welcome. You can follow me on Twitter at copper_falcon. You can follow me on Twitch at the same place. I finally got my second monitor, so I plan to start streaming soon, and hopefully often. It seems like fun.
Yeah. I hope you can make money and we can stop doing our day job.
It would be nice to not have a day job. I don't think that's going to happen.
Come on, buddy. Aim for
no, like, it could.
Yeah.
I don't think it is. I'm not going to put all my eggs in the Twitch basket.
That's a ballsy move where people do that. They quit their job at like a gas station. Like, they're already paycheck to paycheck. They're like, YouTube's going to be full time for me.
Yeah, no.
But all right. I will talk to you later, buddy.
Bye.
Bye.